Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Quantum Show panel discussion time. We're doing pre Halloween, and links are sent. Hopefully, people show up. Never know, right? And pre Halloween show. I don't really know what's going to happen because I have no script. All I had to talk about for the first hour was scary experiences, ghosts in the machine type things, right? And I meant to talk about state of ufology, but never got to it. Hey, Aussie, hey, Tim, welcome back, y'all. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, I turned that 1 minute into like 30 seconds. It's okay. I made it. And Sarah, hey. All right, good sound. We hear me loud and clear. Good deal. Yeah, the sound quality between this and the microphone is very noticeable when you switch back and forth, when you click all the right buttons and you don't totally mute yourself. Okay. So yeah, pre-Halloween show. Okay. Hey Lynn.
Hi.
Oh, let me see here. I'm going to turn your mic down just a little.
Okay.
Sound check.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, that's better.
All right.
Yeah, I can turn mine down. So that's fine. So welcome back to the panel, Lynn. How did you like the first hour?
I enjoyed it. I thought that video was absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. SoCal said while the squirrel was there, he saw something off to the left inside the fence.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna have to go back and look again because I didn't see anything. I was so focused on the squirrel that I wasn't looking anywhere else.
Hey Tim.
Hey, yeah, everybody, welcome back. Thank you.
Aussie Tiger and Tim and Sarah. That's what I
Yep.
see so far.
Yeah, we were talking about Ghost in the Machine stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Me and
yeah.
Storm at the end of the last 15 minutes or so. Hey,
We've seen that
Rachel,
a lot lately. We've seen that in our lives quite a lot.
I see it quite a bit too. I had a
Yeah.
ghost in the machine that was my Jeep Cherokee, that blue Jeep. It was
Yeah.
haunted. It was all the
I
neighbors said,
remember.
yeah, all the neighbors said that they saw somebody sitting in the Jeep all the time. And I actually had a picture of it. I caught a face in the passenger side. It was so cool. The, it's long gone. I think it went away with Yahoo Photos. Oh well.
Yeah, it's you know, there's been so many of those kinds of things happen around here that for us it's normal, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I see that stuff too. And you know, it trips me out the most that there are so many people that don't have paranormal experiences all the time. And they don't realize when it happens around them,
yeah.
they have no clue about it.
Yeah.
It is so interesting that so many people can go around and never do anything ghosty, do anything alieny, do anything
Sure.
paranormal at
Sure.
all. So much
You
not
know, the
aware. Go
one of
ahead.
my sisters, you think, well, that's family, but it didn't really work that way. It hit me pretty hard, and the sisters. So there's a couple of them have stuff come and go, but the uh, the others simply do not have that sort of occurrence in their life. Whether they ignore it or not, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
possible.
I think they filter it. I think most of them filter it, and a very few of them just don't have the ability at all.
Well, there's something said in Beetlejuice that always struck me as being hilarious and true at the same time. Is the many times the living won't see the dead,
Yeah.
won't, won't
Yeah,
see it.
that's a filtering. That's
Yeah,
their filter.
yeah,
Their what do we call it? Their objective reality
yeah.
cannot see that stuff. Will not see it because their objective reality
It's
will
just
be
outside what they
shaken.
can accept.
Yeah,
You
it
know.
would be shaken. Their objective reality would be
Yeah.
shaken, and they'd have to acknowledge more stuff like that guy and his head about to short circuit. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It. Yeah. I've like I said in chat in the last uh the last show. We uh I don't think most of chat really knows what I do or why I'm here, and maybe we should say as much.
Okay, well,
Um,
you know what?
you
Go
know,
right ahead.
I'm a pagan. I've been a pagan for the last 50 years. Not last year, 50. I have made my life studying these things, studying paranormal phenomena, a lot of that, and had a lot of things happen to me. I am a psychic empath. I'm also a medium, and none of this is new to me. Uh, I started my journey studying the Bible. Now, I don't mean I read it a couple of times. I mean I studied it. You know, I had to for the career I was planning, and unfortunately, I found so many discrepancies that I couldn't continue that path. Simply that. No, the devil didn't make me an offer. I don't believe in the devil. Evil? Oh, yeah, I believe in evil. No problem there. But most evil is human perpetuated, at least in my experience.
Yeah,
So, as far as being able to argue religion, oh, I can do that. you know, I would rather not. I find no benefit to most people, and
right,
most of that folks get horribly angry because it challenges their reality,
right.
and they can't have that.
They become irrational.
Yeah.
And speaking of muggles,
Yeah, that's
let's
really what it comes down to. People who don't understand why they believe what they believe.
right,
When you do, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, paganism, Zoroaster, Baha'i,
right. Anything,
you name it, you name it. I know a little something about it.
right. And
I
for all
won't
the
say
muggles,
everything because I don't know everything, not by a long shot.
oh no, we're only human.
Yeah,
Uh, so for the muggles tuning in now and in the future, let's bring it to their level, what they can kind of relate to.
right, sure.
How about tarot card readings? What about
Tarot.
tarot cards? Talk to us a little bit about tarot cards, about
Well,
your experience with them.
yeah, I read them and I'm good at it.
Okay, what's your
When
process? Everyone has
uh,
a process.
when you say a process, can you be a little more specific?
When someone asks you for a reading, do you what's your procedure
How
from
do I
that
do
point on?
that? All
Right.
right, first thing I do with the person that has settled with me for a reading is I ask them if it would be all right if their guide spoke to my guide. That's first thing. If it is all right, we can continue. If it's not all right, we will not be continuing because that person's hiding.
Okay.
Okay, that's really what it comes down to. Uh, when I ask for that, what I'm asking for is that the individual trust me. Do they trust me to read accurately for them? And will they allow their guardian angel, spirit guide, higher self. That's all. Those are all those meanings. To communicate with me so that I can read for their present, for their future, also
Okay.
for their past, because I can read past just as easily.
Okay. So,
So that's not
mhm,
all of it, though. So we agree on going ahead and having a reading. At that point, I'll shuffle the cards. I'll break them into three stacks exactly. I will tap each stack and then put and ask the querent, the person who's asking me for the reading, to either stack that back if they're not present with me at the time, if I'm doing it over the telephone or like this, I will stack them back and I will open up a circle. Now that's a very, very small matter. What it amounts to is a simple prayer to the universe, their God, my God, that I see things clearly and am able to speak it plainly and with clarity. You know, at that point, I will start. Generally speaking, for a 15 or 20-minute reading, I'm going to throw a very simple Celtic cross uh, reading circle. What that means is that is the shape of it. It's round, that would be like a wheel. Now, if I would read for uh, a year, which I can do, I can read a year in the future. That is a huge undertaking, both for me and for the current, because it's lengthy, it's hard, and sometimes it's quite emotional. Yeah, yeah, it's a down and dirty of it. And then there's something as simple as a 5-minute reading. It's three cards, past, present, future, that they're all open the same way with prayer and somberness,
mm. Hope
because
you didn't
this is
mind.
important.
Hope
No,
you didn't
you're
mind the
right.
visual element.
Yeah, no, no, you're right. You're putting it out there exactly as it works.
This is for all. This is for the Muggles. My show is
Right,
for the advanced. This one, it goes all over. So
right.
Muggles, I like the pantomiming because it gets the point across. Gives a nice little cross reference, a
Yeah.
visual to look at.
I started reading when I was 19 years old,
Okay.
almost 50 years ago. And this is after I decided that my path would be paganism. And I've been reading ever since. I have read for some of the best psychics in the world, because where do you go when you're psychic? When you're the one that reads the cards, who can you trust to read for you?
Right.
Because you don't read your own cards. It's very difficult. You're not going to
Right.
see things as they are.
Right. Because you're just naturally, and you can't control it. You're biased. You
Yeah, you can't help it.
we all see what we want to see.
I,
And
I want to see good things the same way as you do. And it's hard for me to see when the tower comes up in a reading I'm doing and says all hell is about to break loose, gird up because it's coming.
right, that could happen.
Yeah, it has
And
happened to me.
right, and we all for ourselves, we color it the way we want to see it. I you
Of
can't
course.
we're biased. We're just natural. We're biased. We want good things for ourselves. So we'll like refuse the reading even if it comes up 3 or 4 times very similar.
Well,
We'll
one
just
of the one of the things that I do is when I read for another psychic, though that procedure is real important. You can't skip a step. with them. Well, firstly, they know the process, so I better be on my toes, you know. But it's also, it's the deity in me honors the deity in you.
Hmm.
Namaste. You know, so when I worked with Hazy Radio, I met a lot of people who engaged in the paranormal, who engaged in the psychic, the empathic, and I had one person call me, and of course, doing the kinds of things that Storm does. Uh, we literally set that station up for the individual who put it together, Zeta Ost, and they called Storm and said, "Who can I talk to? I have a serious situation, and who do you trust the most to give me a reading?" This person is quite a celebrity, actually. And he said, "Well, listen, you want to talk to Lynn?" And they're like, "Well, forgive me, but I've never heard of her." He goes, "That's all right. She knows you." you know? But that was the first reading I gave. And it was so spot on. And of course, the reading that I gave Miss Host when she called me about wanting to set up this radio station, she
Hmm.
asked me at the time, she goes, and I told her, "Oh, one of the big things with psychics should not ask one question other than your name and your your month and day of birth. Okay, this will allow them to work out your numerology and will give them an insight more if you're having a longer reading." I usually ask for those as well because I do astrology and I also do numerology. And I've studied those for a very long time.
Right.
But
Okay, bringing it down
yeah,
to the muggle level, right?
muggle
So
level,
so
yeah.
people can understand, right?
The average
Um,
psychic, yeah. The average
yeah,
psychic's going to charge you somewhere around $100, between between 50 and $100. Anything less than that, you've got a bargain. And most of the really good psychics will charge less than 50 because they want the individual talking to them to get good value, you know.
right. And also from it now there is an artist heart at this too.
Yes.
There is a faithful heart at this too. The
Yeah.
person doing the reading, we
Integrity is everything to me.
integrity, and we just want the information to get there. I
Yes,
used to do I used to do rune readings, and I
right.
didn't do it the expensive way. I did it from Barnes and Noble with a little book and stuff, and but
Right.
it
Most
still
people
worked.
start that way.
Yeah, it still worked, and from there that, but I wasn't trying to. I
Be
would
the
do it
Pope.
for free. I would do it for free if I could,
Yeah.
because I
I
wanted the information to get to them, because it
right.
was, they asked me, I was the delivery, I was the proxy.
Right.
That was my job, and I wanted to be really good at my job.
And you're right about that. There are two schools of thought on this. There's freely given, freely give, which is all right. There's nothing wrong with that. There's also the school of, hey, I gotta make a living here, and this is my
Right.
talent.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know,
where it ties into ufology,
yeah,
because look, I mean, I was showing, I paid money for this book. She is a friend of the show. Cheryl, is a friend of the show, right?
What
I've
did he
talked to her
say?
UFOs in Tennessee and where to find them.
Oh, cool.
She wants the information out there, but she gotta eat, gotta pay bills.
Exactly. The information doesn't come cheap because you're spending time writing. You're
Right.
spending time
And
catching on
getting books
to
produced.
information in your head.
Yeah, and getting books produced like that.
Yeah,
First, it's
it's
the
not
time
cheap.
and energy transcribing it. And then getting books produced or doing a reading takes a lot of energy
Yeah, it does.
and
It's a
time and
creative energy, of
right.
course. Um, I read for a lady yesterday that bad news, damn bad news,
Mm,
and I told her you need to see a doctor. You need to see this kind of doctor, okay? And finish the reading. And this one was for free because I know the lady. You know, I hadn't seen her for a while, but I know her.
mhm.
And I stopped, I finished it up and said, "Do you have any questions?" She says, "No, but I've got a comment." She says, "I've already done all of that. You saw it just exactly the way it was." She knew all about her circumstances.
Okay.
She gonna make it? Yeah, with prayer and change of heart and going towards her health with a different attitude.
Mm,
Yeah, she can make it. But this is one of the problems with reading tarot or any other reading. The reading is in a situation where you've done a reading, regardless of what kind. The cards are as they are. Change anything about them. Change in attitude, a change in relationship. Things change. We are constantly changing in our lives. And the reading is fairly static, it doesn't move a lot. So, you may have one reading in a day, and things change so significantly that 2 weeks later, it's a different reading.
mhm.
I've also seen where that reading did not change one iota. It was the same reading, So it does work if the person is what they say they are. Sometimes people are not what they pretend to be. It's a living, and they approach it that way. They'll go back to they'll go back and say, "Listen, uh, the spirits have ended. I can't say anymore. I'm exhausted." Oh, bullshit. You know, and I mean that from the heart. You know, your person is setting you up to be on her hook or his hook for as long as you'll stand for it.
Yep. And I've seen that before too. Those
Mhm.
are the
I have
fakes.
too.
Yeah, those are the fakes. And I think I started the first hour saying there's so much fake going on.
There is.
And it's been since the late 1800s with the spiritualist movement. You remember reading about that? Remember
I
that?
do. I don't advertise. People come to me because they find out about me.
Yeah,
That is the reason. Because
right.
I don't want to make a life of this.
Right. I People have come to me out of the blue. They have something said come to you. That has
Hmm.
happened. Not very
Yeah.
often, but that has happened. And when I find people in front of me, they were there for a reason. I don't know the reason. They might not know the reason, but the reason exists, and that's where my little quantum link comes in. The reason exists, and it is to be determined. Let's see what happens. Like,
You're one of the things that's got me laughing here is your quote here.
oh yeah,
Difficult to see. Always in motion is the future. the little quote from Yoda.
Yeah.
Before my mother passed away, I mean, like just before, she desired to see Star Wars. She wanted to see that so badly. And I thought that's a very strange thing for my mother to want to do. But I knew things were not going well for her, and I knew that she wouldn't be with me for very much longer. I'm a psychic medium.
Right.
I took mom to see the Star Wars, 'cause that's what she wanted. And in fact, me and my sisters all went. And she elbowed me on that statement. Always emotion is the future. She
Hmm.
elbowed me and she leaned over and whispered, "Just damn it, if I knew I was going to have to listen to you the whole way through this." I was 19 years old and talking as I do now. I know so much more now than I did then
Right.
because she already recognized it. Of course, she should have. She had to live through it. You know, uh, growing
Right.
up was
She
not a fun thing. You know.
yeah, she would have seen all
Yeah.
of the fakery
Well, she'd have
and
seen the fakery, and then she saw a daughter who could do this shit,
the real stuff.
the
Because
real thing.
even, there is there's a phrase, I don't know the phrase, but um even the fakes, even the fakes, unless they're dead set on not believing in this stuff and dead set on being a con, they kind of come around because they see things, they sideways start to open their minds to it,
Yeah.
and then they start to believe it, and then, well, their little, everyone's got it, quantum link starts
Remember the
to happen.
psychic and ghost? Wasn't she a hoot?
I don't
The
remember that.
Whoopi Goldberg was
I
the psychic and ghost.
I haven't seen that in so long.
Oh my gosh, it was great though. She was a charlatan, a faker across the board, a faker,
Right,
and suddenly she wasn't anymore.
right.
He
Okay.
he was able to make it so that she could see him and hear him, and
Right.
it drove her just about nuts.
Bakers.
Hmm.
That brings me to my next thing, Ouija boards,
I
spirit
hate
boards,
him.
talking boards. Right.
I hate him.
It is, as far as I can see, it is now, different people have different opinions.
Well, in different experiences.
Right. M- As far as I can tell, they are an uncontrolled medium.
Is possible. Um, I would say, you know, people don't quite get that when someone passes over, they're still the person that they left.
Yes.
They have not become saintly. They are not angels. They don't have their little hands clasped together in prayer. They are the same person.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that happens
exactly.
here. The
Yes,
guys
yes.
in the cemetery are still farmers.
They're still the people that they were
You're
when they
right.
lived.
And that's why they like the biscuits and gravy. I forgot them.
That's probably why they
And
pick up on you because you are authentic.
hmm
And
hmm
anyhow, uh, if if you are a bad person, maybe you're a psychopath, maybe you're a narcissist or wife beater or what have you. What in the world would make you think that they're any different on the other side? They're not. They are the same person. And a Ouija board in the hands of an uncontrolled psychic, as you say,
hmm
uh, a psychic glows in the dark for those kinds of entities. You really have to kind of uh, you set up your shielding. You give your guide full access to what they have to do to protect you, and go from there.
Right. Well,
The
well, let me go back from there because you're getting into some advanced territory, right?
Yeah,
For the muggles listening, Edgar.
Hi, Edgar. Oh,
Hey,
anyway, no, we're teasing you, Edgar.
yeah.
Please, honest, I agree with you there.
um,
Um,
but the fakers that become real, right? That become believers.
oh
A
yeah,
lot of them use Ouija boards,
they
and
do.
they will push the thing around, right? They will pay, but then some stuff starts to happen,
Yeah,
and they're like, "Wait, I didn't do that. Did you do that?" Normally,
yeah.
the person who says, "Are you pushing the board?" is the word pushing the board, right? Or did you do that? But then stuff starts happening, and what's going on there is okay. Everyone has a quantum link. Everybody, whether they use it or
Yes,
not,
they do.
everybody's got it. It's the internal spark. It's the divinity.
You can
Whatever.
uh,
Okay.
go ahead and post what Storm just said because it's very true there. Um, in the use of a Ouija board, when you get several people together and all agreed to pool their psychic energy, it is my opinion, and I think probably Storm's, that although I won't say 100, but uh, you create a sort of tulpa. Now, we've talked about tulpa in this show a
Hmm.
couple of times. Now, we're not talking about a physical entity, we're talking about a mental one, where it's all mixed up of different people's opinion. Now, what we're saying about pushing that board back and forth, uh, you can get mesmerized by what you're doing, maybe totally into it, as the muggle might say, and come up with some pretty interesting ideas that nobody had to start with.
Right. Enter the
Nobody can
quantum link.
claim all of it's different, and well, she wouldn't think of that, and they wouldn't think, and he wouldn't think either. But
Hmm.
here we are. A thought form has gone on. Now I've seen this in action. It's one of the reasons why I don't care for them. We were youngsters, we were young kids, we had a Ouija board, and this thing got evil. And it wasn't because the people who were running it were evil, because a couple of farm girls, please. We're thinking about hairspray and boys, okay? And we ran this thing, and it decided that it would tell us when we would die. You know, I consider that death magic. I won't tell someone a date when they're going to pass. I won't tell them that they're going to pass because it's unethical and it's immoral. But here was this board talking all kinds of evil stuff, and not just that. I mean, when I get you on this side, I'm going to take you to hell. That sort of thing.
No. Okay.
Okay? A real nasty board. And you know what I did for that board? I cut it into several pieces with an axe. I lived on a farm. I had an axe. And I burned that thing. Now, you want a ghost story? Here's a ghost story.
Mm.
This
Okay.
thing, this thing caught fire and started screaming, audibly screaming, until it was down to ash. There was no water in it, there was no moisture. It was all straight up fire, and it screamed, and it sounded like 100 screams. So, what did we have? I have no idea. Was it demonic? I don't know. I can't tell you that.
Well, it wasn't an alien, so
It wasn't an alien. I'll tell you,
no,
it was,
not an alien. Not
no, no. Had nothing to do with aliens.
right.
But that is what happened to this thing. I have never touched a Ouija board since and never will. I don't like them.
Right. Let's talk about what a Ouija board does. Storm said it a minute ago.
Yes.
Using collective unconscious, subconscious to manipulate psychic energy to manifest the energy of some kind. Okay, here's a, an extension of that. This is something else that it does. Now, I apparently have a little bit of experience with divination and meditation and
Hmm.
manifestation and using a Ouija board. When you
Yes,
get
you.
a bunch of
Yes, you do.
people, I think I do. I don't know, but when you get a bunch of people together, and you can actually compare it to CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. What that
I do.
is you can focus on an idea and have that idea open some kind of, not a doorway, not a rift, but it creates a light.
Yes.
It creates a beacon for something to be attracted to. That's why we're talking about. That's why you start. I did it too. I do it too. Whenever I do any kind of divination, I always light a black candle. People are like,
Hmm.
"Why are you lighting a black candle?" I'm like, "It's a protective candle. That's okay. I know it's
It's
not dramatic,
black. Black simply is a matter of absorbing the negativity. That's
right?"
all
And
it is.
to me now, I manifest it as it is a cloaking device. That's what I do. Black cloak. I want to look at this stuff in secret, and I don't want to be bothered while I'm doing it. That's how I do it.
And you don't want it out there for every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the other side to be snooping around.
Right. Same thing with a Ouija board. Ouija. Okay, now when you get, let's say, 5 people, 4 people, 4 or 5 people around a board, they're all focused on what one person says. Usually, there's someone asking a question, and that thought rings clear in their head, and they are focusing that a lot like CE5. CE5 is focusing that because they give them a book and or a pamphlet or something. It's like a schedule, like a like like you're reading Macbeth or something, or like a play, like what's happening now in the play, since it's 14 something and I can't
Well,
hear
it was that was part of the control of the experiment, wasn't it?
in CE5.
Yes.
Yeah, that was they
All
give
right.
them a book or pamphlet, say, here's what we're gonna do, and they like time it. It's like, okay, now that right there, now when things do come in happen, it's kind of like Ouija board, CE5. You're all focusing on the same thing. You want something to happen. Well, something is going to happen,
Exactly.
and it's not. What do they call that? It's not
Yeah,
power
like
suggest.
the Tim just caught on to our thought process, and aren't we just doing almost the same thing? We're having a conversation. It works extraordinarily similarly.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm only keeping this stuff up because I want people to, like, when they look at the show later, they can see,
Hmm.
oh, we're talking Ouija boards.
Hmm.
This comment. Um, but
No, and Ouija boards aren't the only thing for divination. I mean, there's
no, it just
dowsing, there's
Hasbro,
there,
Hasbro,
uh,
whoever.
well, pendulum. There's stones,
Yeah,
and there's 1,000 ways I think
yeah. They say
to divine the future or the past. Because and divining the past is a lot harder because that is in stone.
right, right. A lot of times you can just read it. You know, I mean, like, I don't mean read it like runes. I mean read it like read it in a book. The past is written, so we can look at that.
Yeah, a blank
Um,
a blank piece of paper. If I get going, I don't need cards. I don't need stones. I don't need any of it. You know what? Honestly, the cards and the stones and all of that stuff is for the person who uh is there for the reading. It's not usually for the medium because the
right,
medium It's going to key in on it with or without the cards. Cards are kind of like a road map for the individual who is getting the reading.
Right. That
You know,
happens to
something
be
for them to see.
right. It's something tangible, so we can hook it up, link it in. It's
Yes.
like the switchboard, right? You don't know what's being said, but you know you plugged it in, and
Mhm.
you're like, okay, this is what I got coming through. You asked me to go here. Let's see what happens when I go here. Let's see what happen. Go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. Like a switch. Wow, I never thought about that before.
Mhm.
Like a
Well,
switchboard.
you've caught on to it exactly.
Yeah, and
But the individual who's getting that reading, whether or not he's ever had one or not, it's immaterial to it. They can look at
right,
those pictures, and our minds work intense in milliseconds. That this and this, oh, and that and this, and oh my gosh, looky here, it all went just like that, you know?
hmm
And they know what their life has been. That's part of the reason why I don't ask any questions and don't want any remarks while I'm doing a reading so that they can make all of the mental connections they need to, and then they can ask, what is this mean? What can I do from here?
right. Hey, how many times have you had somebody say, "No, you're wrong. That's wrong," and it turns out they were just in denial? How many
Oh,
times that happened to you?
it has happened. Uh, it was an individual who was pretty intent on proving me wrong and proving me not to be what I say I am.
Okay, a
And
debunker.
I let them carry on probably for 2 or 3 minutes. And then I decided, all right, you're going to be an ass. I'll be an ass with you. And pulled out something totally embarrassing. I said, here you go. What do you think of that? Purple, this person got. Purple. They were so enraged. How could you possibly know that? You know, I just did your reading. I
hmm
knew. I was being considerate of your feelings, tactful, something you have not given me.
hmm
You know, that's why
Right,
I ask for money up front if I'm charging. I want to be paid up front because quite honestly, if somebody doesn't like a reading, it's my fault. N- Not what the reading is. It's my fault. I
right,
must be trying to curse them or some other foolishness.
right. So many
I got
people
no
think it's
use
just
for
like
that.
other trades, like a mechanic or a plumber or a
And
painter.
the same person will try to bilk a painter. They
Eh,
will.
Yeah, I've had people say when I had the computer store that they thought I was trying to rip them off, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, you know what? Check it out. I
Whether
will
you were or
undo
not.
what I
You
did.
know.
Right. I can you can undo computer repairs. You can undo car repairs most of the time.
Yes, you can.
You can undo the paint job by just splashing other paint on. I was like, okay, well, you don't like the paint job? No problem. I'll take it back. Splash. Now you're gonna have to paint it again.
And I'm not petty. I'm really not. I mean, the first time that happened to me, I realized this individual was intent on showing me up, and there was two of them actually. So that's when that happened. There was two people I was reading for, and they intended to marry. And I looked over at her and I said, "You probably should ask him about that other girl he's seeing." And what? you know, that's
You
not true. You can't know. Yeah, it
know
is,
what?
buddy.
This
You
brings
wanted
me
this. Here we go. You know.
right. This brings me to the next part: debunkers and skeptics.
Yeah.
Their role in all of this, and the experiences that we've had with them. Now,
Yeah.
I am skeptical about everything. Of course, I try to prove myself wrong, but I don't just jump at, oh well, it uh
You don't make obscure comments,
right, just because we
or
can't,
just off the cuff. No, it can't possibly be true.
right, and
None of that.
from an from a ufology standpoint, just because we can make a material or an item, did we? That is why debunkers say things like that. We can make this, but did we? It doesn't matter. It exists. Oh well, it was probably made in Germany. Well, how did it get under a cabin in 1895? That kind of thing,
Yeah,
right? How did this?
exactly.
Oh, it's a German engineering material. When were they making it? Did they make it in like before 1895? I don't know. That's just something I pulled out of the air. It might have
Well,
relevance later.
it's fine to be a skeptic. It
Yeah,
really is. I mean, look at our world. Our world is full of scam artists, hackers, people who are trying to hit us for 20 bucks gas station.
you're right.
I mean, uh, our world is loaded with them. There's bound to be somebody. Yes, if you like
Yeah,
and subscribe, okay?
yeah,
But anyhow, you know, it's okay to be a skeptic. But if you can't accept what you can see right up front, that's the truth. You're no longer a skeptic.
you're a
What's the word?
denier.
Well,
You're a
you're
denier.
you're in denial,
Right, you're a denier.
and
You're an
you're not a
irrational
skeptic
denier.
anymore. You are irrational, and you are unable to accept the truth of your own eyes, ears, nose, and brain.
Right.
Now what do you do?
Yeah.
You know?
And I know a really good example of a skeptic that just does not want to accept it. The Bigfoot guy,
Yeah.
that guy,
Oh God.
oh
Yeah.
jeez, what's his name? I went to
Yeah.
see
I
him. I
mean,
met him.
they haven't seen it. Don't they want to debunk? If you want to debunk something, that's fine. Debunk it, but don't claim that your debunking is end all, because it may not be.
This guy. This guy. I'll bring him up. This guy is a denier. Okay, now I like
What does
what
he deny? The existence of Bigfoot, or what specifically?
he wants it to be some kind of primate that we haven't discovered yet. Which,
Okay,
okay,
so he
now
has an alternate idea.
he has an alternate, but he is a denier. He denies that Bigfoot can. Here we are at Bigfoot, but he is a denier. He
Yeah,
is a researcher. He does not accept the fact that Bigfoot can leave one print, none leading up, none leading away. He does not accept the
yeah,
idea that they can just blink out of existence for us.
and there you are. He cannot accept the idea,
Yeah, and he
and
has
that's
this
not a
twitch.
debunker. That's a zealot of a different sort.
Right, he's a skeptic. He's a skeptic, but he's a like a know-it-all skeptic, and he has a tell, right?
Sure, he does.
When you
Most of
corner
these
him
guys
and
do.
you get him stressed,
He
he
just
does
goes out of his mind, doesn't he?
well. He has a
That's
tell.
a
He
person who
begins
is
to
not settled on his own on being correct in his
right.
knowledge.
He
That's a person who's
grasps
scared
onto
silly
his
he's
stuff.
gonna be.
Now he
I'm
does
sorry.
great research. He puts on a great show, but he grasps. He holds on to his empirical research, and he does this. You could
Just
tell
can't handle
you
it, huh?
you got him. You got him. When he does this, you got him. He does that. It's a twitch.
it's
It's a tell.
it's it is a tell, and it's also a signal that he's about to have a rage.
Right. But then he goes
And a
and he
rage is usually something like that, where someone is hit in a rage like that,
Yeah.
they have a mental problem. Even if he were presented with undeniable proof, he would likely deny it.
Yeah. And a lot of these people do that. These science-based ones that the stuff we do, the
What's the
stuff we do,
point, though?
they cannot accept something outside of their reality. It's what do they
Yeah.
call it? The mainstream, right? Yeah.
Um, I don't know about.
I ought to.
Should challenge him to a game of poker. Oh, I would love to play poker with that one. I like poker. I quit playing after I had a game with a bunch of guys in a airport. You know,
Yeah.
card game, and absolutely cleaned their clocks. Every one of them showed their hand on their face.
Yep. Everybody's got to tell. And
Hmm.
that happened with me, but I was on, not the I have a tell side, but I was playing.
Samo,
Yes,
hi.
Samo, welcome back, Samo. Great to see you, man. You need to use that wrench a little more sometimes.
Use that French press, would you?
But I was. It's motivation, the motivation behind what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of.
Well,
I was
okay. What is his motive? Firstly, he's an influencer, obviously on YouTube, just like you and I are. Okay.
Meldrum.
Oh yeah, that's
Well,
part of it. But he's
he's
also an
yeah
expert in this, that, and the other thing,
he's
right?
an expert in apes. He's an expert in apes. There
Oh,
are no Bigfoot
primates.
primates.
Okay, okay.
That's his field of study. Let me.
Uh huh. I can see where he has, but understand, what is his um why is he stuck in his mindset? And you just told me
Yeah, he
he
cannot.
has nothing to, he has everything to lose by being wrong.
Yeah, University of, where does that say? Ohio. Let me
Well,
look.
probably. That sounds like an Ohio opinion.
Idaho. Even more. Oh man,
Big time. That
Ohio,
puts Ohio on steroids.
right? Ohio is like, oh, we don't know what giants you're talking about. I went
Oh,
there,
oh,
and I'm
and
like,
by the way,
oh,
folks,
your
I am
street,
from Ohio, so I can bitch about it all I like.
yeah, and like in Cincinnati, they've got Mound Street,
I know.
and things named after mounds and giants, and nobody knows anything about it. I'm like, you are
No, could
joking, right?
possibly.
Oh, that's kids stuff. They're like, oh yeah, I
It's actually not. My dad was a drainage contractor,
a what?
and that's a nice fancy way of saying he was a ditch digger.
Oh,
And
grave contractor. Okay,
no, no, he was a drainage contractor.
okay, I
Okay.
didn't.
In other words, if you have a wet field and it's not producing very well, he would go in, put in a few strategically placed lines of tile, whether that was clay tile or plastic. Plastic is more the thing to do now,
Hmm.
and make that field usable for cultivating.
Right.
Well, he was doing this job, and I say ditch digger. Believe me, Dad was super tech on that sort of thing. He literally changed the face of the industry during his lifetime. But he came across a mound.
Hmm.
He got into a mound.
Oh boy.
Uh huh. He and my mother talked, but he came home. He was very, very upset, extraordinarily upset. And and came home and told my mom about it. And, little pitchers have big ears. I mean, me.
Right.
And I listened to this conversation, seeming to be doing something else. And Dad goes, I got into a mound today. And Ma says, a mound? You mean one of the burials? He goes, yeah. He goes, one of the old ones. He goes, I found some stuff. I called the archaeology department at Ohio State. They came out, threw me off the job. They would
Mm-hmm.
not let me continue my job.
Right.
It
All
closed the area. Mom said, what did you find? He goes, unbelievable bones. Mom goes, huh? What do you mean unbelievable bones? Bones are bones. He goes, I found a bone that's big around as I am. And
check
Dad was a big man.
check your audio. You're starting to crackle.
Oh, shit.
What's going on with it?
Nothing that I know of. How's that?
Wiggle.
I
You're
wiggled
good.
it.
It's just
As
okay.
long
Every
as I
now and
don't
again.
wiggle.
Right. You
I
just
think the control gets underneath me and gets the mute button gets jiggled.
well. I think I don't know what's. It sounds like a bad connection. It's like it crackles, goes quiet, then crackles and comes back.
Or
Like
the
a
men in black don't like the subject matter.
yeah. They don't like us talking about giants.
Yeah. None of that stuff now. He did manage to snag something though, and it's no longer around. And after the show, I'll tell you how he lost it. But this arrowhead
Yeah.
was let me see, about this size.
Okay.
He got that in a piece of connection. You got rawhide and arrow shaft. But wasn't the kind of thing you'd expect to find. The arrowhead was almost, well, it was flint, I think. It was chipped like flint, but it was nearly transparent.
Hmm.
How about them apples?
Yeah. Right.
So Pop had it made into a bolo and lost it. I won't say how here, but he lost.
Hunting vampires and hunting werewolves. Let's just go with that.
Are we gonna hunt werewolves on purpose? They're bigger than we are. Anyhow, I mean, another sort of a kind of a ghost story. But he told Mom he wasn't going to bring it up again. He wasn't going to talk about it, and he wouldn't go back to the farm he was chased off of.
Yeah.
Well,
Those
I
places
can
are usually
understand that actually. Money wise, I can understand it.
right. Well, there's more than money because that's like protecting the sacred timeline bullshit.
They
It's
they
what,
threatened him.
yeah, right, right. Because, oh man, you got my brother used to be a contractor,
Mm.
and he was clearing in Colorado, clearing places to people wanted to build at, right? Well, every now and again, he would. You're starting to crackle some more.
What am I
J-
going to do about this?
Just
Right,
wiggle the wire.
the making noise.
No, I mean it's intermittent. It doesn't happen very
That's
often.
weird. It might be my voice.
No, no, this is an electronic crackle. It's like headphones where you twist it and it's kind of dirty. It's like that. It's not. your voice. But anyway,
That
it's only intermittent. It's only a little bit. But my brother was a contractor. He was land clearing. He was helping, right? And they ran across mammoth bones.
oh
That's
wow.
cool. That's really cool. But contractors and builders don't like to run across mammoth bones or
Uh-uh.
anything prehistoric because they have to
Stop.
shut down, they have to stop, remove it, it's protected, and then it takes sometimes months because now you're talking about anthropologists and archaeologists coming in. They're
Right.
not excavators. They don't dig with giant shovels and backhoes. They dig with hand trowels and
They
brushes.
they they the paint brushes and toothbrushes.
Right. And
That's how they dig for stuff.
they move it with their hands because they don't want to damage the stuff that's there. And understandably, right?
Right.
But they don't like that. The contractors don't like that when that happens because then they have to stop work and they don't get paid.
Well, Dad was always the sort, he. There are contractors who will go with the law. Okay, period. And my dad was one of those.
Yeah.
His
Right. Right. Well, you got
integrity,
to.
his words, everything.
Right.
And
You
there are
got
those who will
licenses
run
and
right over it, and you'll never see it again.
right. You got licenses and bonding and all like you said, personal
Precisely.
integrity, all that stuff. You got permits to deal with. You got uh you're signing this paper saying this is right and
Yeah.
the integrity needs to be upheld.
If
So
you don't have that, you got nothing.
right, and you're also illegal, and so people can go back and like it's a big
Sue you,
can of
and it's a
worms.
mess.
It's a big can of worms.
Yeah.
And
But Dad wouldn't go back. He said, no, he says, I'm likely to find something else, and I can't afford to move this much equipment to get a bust and a job. And he was right. And when talking equipment with my dad, we're not talking about a shovel. We're
no,
talking about, if you've ever seen the earth movers out on the highway when they're doing a big job, that's how big Dad's equipment was. So yeah, I can drive it, but do much else with it, probably not. At least not now. But
right,
yeah, I had to move that stuff myself quite often,
yeah,
and tractors and the rest of it.
right. Well,
But yeah,
um, hey Lynn, it's an hour,
mhm,
and so I'm gonna do coffee.
okay.
Amy and I are out of coffee, and that is just a travesty. So it's a travesty I can avoid. So I'll be back in
You know
a
what?
couple minutes.
How about if I get out my cards and I'll do quick read for the
Okay.
audience?
Okay.
Let me get my card. I will be a second.
Okay.
Frankie, will you get me my tarot off of the bedstand? I'll do a quick read for you guys if you'd like. Who wants to be first? What about you, Robot Jim? You want to try it? Oh no! But this is free, guys. No money. Okay, we'll do Jim first. Who's next if I have time? Oh, Raven. I can do Raven. How you doing, Raven? Love you, babe. You need to call me. Do you a better reading? It's been a while since we had the last one. Lots transpired. Rachel wants one. Well, we'll try. I can do a few. I can't do all of you, I'm sure. One card reading. Let's go with Robot Jim first because he asked first. Okay, here it is. Jim, do I have your permission? I want to talk to your guide, Jim. You gotta tell me I can. Okay, great. We'll do it. I got it. There's three. The universe. Okay, we got our prayer in. All right, here we go. Robot Jim, one question and we'll answer. It's a star, Jim. What that means is what you've asked about is a project or a relationship. And the universe is telling you that you have a good situation and it looks good and it's favorable towards you. Okay? Not seeing much else than that. We're seeing 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 stars. That means it's a business arrangement. And it is, my opinion, it'd probably be a good one. Okay? Now, who's next? Okay. Rachel was next. Rachel, do I have your opinion? Do I have your permission to speak with your guide? You tell me real quick, honey. Yes. Okay. All right, Rachel. Your guide, my guide. Yeah, our people are talking to each other, Rachel. Holy Father, Holy Mother, let this be a good reading for her. Let her know what she needs to know. Have your question firmly in mind. I do not want to know what it is. Okay? That's between you and the universe. Okay. We are here with the Fool. See him? Okay? And it's called the Fool. What you're doing here is starting something new, something grand. And you're a little bit scared. And I don't see it being a huge project, but something you're a little bit intimidated by. And the Fool is the little guy who's walking off a cliff with his little dog. He's totally blissful. He's happy. And he's not worried in the least bit about what might befall him. His perfect love and perfect faith is what it is. Watch for deceit. All right, watch for it, because somewhere here there is a pitfall that you haven't considered. I want you to go back over your idea or your project or whatever it is, maybe it's a relationship, and check carefully that you're not being lied to. All right? Okie dokie. Thanks, Rachel. I appreciate your trust. Let's see here. Mo went missing. Oh boy. You sure you want to know, Raven? You know, your guide, my guide, Raven. Give me a yes on that.
Okie doke, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Is Mo? We're got an important one here that we're working on.
Oh.
Okay.
I see.
All right, Raven. I need to be able to talk to your guide, honey. Okay. Okay, is Mo still with us? Is he with a family, maybe? There's a lot of questions here. So let's have a looky. All right. 1, 2, 3. Let's find Mo. Oh, let's see. Well, we have Mo has gone a hunting. He may be back. I'm not sure. He's out looking, and you know how alley cats are. But he's out looking. He's the Knight of Wands, so he's out doing the cat thing with cats. Whether he comes back or not, I don't know that. I'm not seeing that. I'm going to pull one more just to get some clarification. Doesn't look good, Raven. It doesn't. I don't see him gone as far as him having passed, but he is not coming back to you, babe. I'm sorry. It really hurts me to tell you that, but I don't think he is. See why? That's the tower, honey. I'm sorry. I don't believe he'll be back. Uh, we can hope for him that he's found another family, but uh, he had a misfortune, I believe, but I don't see him coming back to you, dear. So you have my sincerest sorrow. Okay, can we do one more? We can do one more. Samo, do you want one? You do so much for us.
Rachel said she wanted one.
I did Rachel already.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And I did Robot. Well, I'm show rocks. How about it, Samo? You want a quick read? Okay. Your guide, my guide? You're welcome, Raven. Okay. All right, 1, 2, 3. Heavenly Father. Okay. Here we are. Are you starting something new, Samo? Now, I have it in my mind that it might actually be a new, I want to say medication or something like that, Samo. And it's telling you that you're starting something new, okay? It's telling you to be careful of side effects and to be especially careful of the information that you're getting. Be sure to research, honey, okay? All right, we got it. We're done. Thanks, everyone. I enjoyed doing that for you. I hope you enjoyed it too.
I'm going to have to go back and look at about 106 because that's when I walked away.
Fast read, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It really was. We got, what, 3, 4 people at once?
I missed it, but hey.
Oh,
cool.
You want one?
Right.
We can do one for you. I mean, after all,
Sure.
you're a sweetheart.
Thank you.
You've been
Sure.
nice to me recently. All right.
Okay.
Do I have your permission from your guide to do this for you?
Yes. I
All
can
right.
actually ask her. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Isn't that neat? Some of your guide. Dina's going to talk to me and tell me what I need to tell you. And we'll go from here. 1, 2, 3. All right. New venture involving money. See it? First, number 1, pentacle. You've seen them. See what I'm talking about? All right.
I do.
You have a venture that involves money. You must be very careful. You do not speak to anybody about what it is you're planning or what it is you're coming into. Nobody must know except you. That's what I hear. Sound about right?
Well, that's kind of what I do. I talk too much, and Dina tells me all the time, work in the darkness.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
There you go. There's confirmation for you.
That's an interesting cross reference.
Yeah, that one in pentagrams is usually a new business venture, quite often. It can be a venture that comes with money, an
Mhm.
inheritance, a it can also precede a love affair with money. No, not with money precisely, but a
But
love
money
affair where the
involved.
individual has money.
Right.
That can happen that way. So you have a situation there that you must be silent about.
Yes.
I I I cannot emphasize it enough. Tell nobody. Okay, wasn't that fun? I like it.
Yeah.
Brings me joy. You can see it on my face.
Mhm. So, yeah.
I hope that that gives people the information they need. It's such a fast thing that it's really not quite as deep as it could be.
Right. That's a they call okay, in the trade, I guess they call it a pull, right?
Yes.
A one card pull, three card pull, or
Yeah.
a full reading. That's
A
kind
lot of psychics will go on a show like this
of
and do precisely what we just did.
right. That's what Amy does.
Yeah.
Amy does one or two, and then clarification. So three. And
Yeah.
sometimes she'll be shuffling. It's so cool to see her do it because she's had,
She's fast.
well, it's real.
I'm not. I can't pull them out, shove them together. I can't do any of those tricks.
Yeah. She and she doesn't use any kind of trick. She goes totally on her own vibes. She has
Yes.
lots of different decks, and she is actually attracted to a certain deck at a certain time,
Yes.
whatever it is. And um,
If I do a show like this one, I'm probably going to gravitate towards the Rider Waite deck.
right, that's the traditional one.
It's a
She
traditional one. A lot of people understand it.
right, and she does not do that. She goes with all these. She has so many different decks. You know what I thought about? I don't know how to figure it out. I thought about having a quantum show deck, but I don't know how to figure it out. I don't know.
We could do it. We could.
Yeah, and it would
It'd be fun.
I would print it up here. Everything would be made by me. I would print them all. I've made trading cards before. I can make tarot cards, tarot cards. I
Oh,
would do that, but
that'd be
I don't.
fun.
Yeah, but I don't know where to begin to structure the ideas from. Like, do I want to go with the Rider
Uh,
Waite? Do I want to go with the unicorn deck?
I
Do I
knew
want to go?
a bunch of people out of San Francisco. Met a few,
Mhm.
and they were artists and musicians, of course, craftspeople like that. And they put together a whole bunch of their own tarot decks. It was fabulous. I
Yeah.
mean, some of these were they had a housewife deck. I remember that one, and another one that was the artist. I mean, it was just absolutely bargain great, and so many of these decks are based off the Rider Waite deck. They don't stray too far from those meanings. But
Right.
occasionally you'll find one. The witches oracle is uh, is got its own system.
Right. There are so many ways to do it. If I was to do it, okay, I don't know the Rider Waite methods very well. Right. I
Right.
don't. And I don't do things I don't talk about stuff I have no idea about. If I don't
Well,
have any
you
experience,
know the rune deck.
I know a little bit of it, and
Okay,
that would
you
be
use
the
stones or did you use
correspondence
the cards?
stones.
Okay,
I even tried to use staves, the sticks, but
those are
it's
like throwing
really
the bones.
right. It's really complicated because
It is.
you have to let your subconscious wander to the groups. Oh man, and you
Oh, it's
pick out
amazing.
symbols. That's how the symbols are created. And if like sometimes you get one of these. Sometimes you got that. Sometimes you got bump, 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 and they're all, and you have to
Right.
interpret it. And like Raven also says, the meaning of a rune is dependent on the meaning of the surrounding runes. What that means is when you, I could just show you, right? I could just, I could actually do an illustration. Like you have 12 of them, right? That, let's say I was to have 12 of them, and I go bang, 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 bang.
They would each have their own meaning, both right side up and upside down.
Right. Here's the spread, right? Let me do this real quick.
Oh,
Here's the
wow.
This is how old school runes would do it. They're sticks. Here's the
Right,
spread.
right. And
All of
you would check each one out.
all of these are interactions, right? And something like right here would be the unknown rune, the
Right,
secret rune, right? But
right.
all of these, like there's there's one, here's another one. Oh,
Mhm.
here's a really special one, right?
Yeah,
Because it's
X,
close to this one. And here's this one,
prosperity.
and here's this one, right? I randomly scratched these out. This is a form of divination, but I'm not assigning any values to these. Okay, so
No,
that
but you're
is
right. I literally could take runes and read that for you.
right, right. 24 runes,
Yeah, yeah, she's right.
12
That's
staves.
mhm.
So
And they're read straight
look
on.
at
They're
that.
not messed around with any.
Right. And like here's something. Let me bring it back up, right? Now, when we say, let's say this is the unknown rune, right? They call it
Right,
the unknown rune, the secret rune. Well, it's
right.
surrounded by this one and this one and this one and this
Oh
one,
yeah, there's a lot of
and then
ways to go with that.
it is being buffeted by this one and this one and this one, and then you go up, it's buffeted by this one and all of these, right?
That's a really complicated reading.
Yeah, it is
It really
complicated.
is.
That's why I don't do the sticks because it's so complicated. There's 24 rooms, 12
I'm
states,
crazy enough. I don't have to look for more. Yeah.
right? And I mean, and it's one of those methods, okay, that when you get into it, it is a rabbit hole,
Yes.
okay? When you get into it, I this happened to me. When you I and this happened to me with the stones. I did a reading and I did the cross with the 3 on the side, right?
Right.
That is a method for it's like borrowed from the tarot, but put into the rune. It's something in the book that I had, right?
Yeah.
And
It tarot is actually borrowed from the rune, not the other way around.
right, well, right, yeah,
The
but
runes are far older.
oh yeah, well, history aside, they share methodology, but
Yes.
the uh in tarot, there's one reading that I would do. It well, not
This
tarot.
is good. Robot thinks there's a 25th one that should be the wild card. It is actually. It's the blank rune is
It's
a
the
wild
blank rune,
card.
the
It can
unknown rune,
mean a
the secret
lot of things. And
rune.
like
Okay.
you said, it's the secret one.
This is one kind of spread,
Way
right?
older, yes.
This is one kind of spread, and I would do that
That's a
with
Celtic cross,
runes.
yes. Mhm.
Right. I would do this with runes, okay? With the stones. And
Sure.
okay, it's uh let me do this.
Well, and you can complicate it further by using the numbers and read the numerology of it and possibly the astrology if you want to get crazy or if you just want to go crazy.
It
It's
would be
called
something
weird. Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right.
it would be something like this in the order that you pull them in, right?
Precisely.
And actually 6 and 2 are reversed, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
6 would be the last one of the cross and then 7, 8, 9. I yeah, see how
Right.
long it's been since I've done this stuff?
No, but that first one, the first stone is crossed by the second one. The first stone is you. The second
Right.
one is what's crossing you.
Okay. Okay. Well, see, that's another method methodology. I
Yeah.
had a. Oh, let me get my
No,
big face
it's how you would read tarot using runes. So
Right.
it can be really complicated, and and it takes an enthusiastic reader to disentangle it.
Right. And when you get into that rabbit hole and you do the surrounding
Yeah,
and you're working with this and you're
yeah.
true and you're not just reading the book, then all these connections start making their
Oh
way.
yeah, it makes a story in your head.
Right. All these
You
connections.
literally can see it. It's not a question of looking at pictures for the medium. It's seeing the event.
Right. And there are, it's a huge rabbit hole that you can dive down and I have to had to literally stop myself, limit
Right.
myself because I was going off on I was I don't know, it's like a runaway or
Yeah,
something.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, it can run
It
away
you get
and
so far into your trance and
and just
into what's being read, it takes off with you. You
mhm,
didn't run away, it did. you know.
right, and it will carry you right along with it. But that's when we have our disciplines
Yeah.
and our meditations and yeah.
Well, each card has its meaning. Most people don't quite realize that 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 can actually have you if you've ever heard the song 52. I think it's 52. It's about a poker deck and a youngster having a deck of cards, and he he plays them out. He has an almanac. He has an astrology going on in that deck. He has divination, of course,
Mhm.
prayer book. He can name all of the disciples, the four major ones within the tarot, and it does function in that way for some people. So
Yes.
it has an amazing background to it, and the runes are, as Samuel pointed out, much older.
Oh
Throwing
yeah.
throwing of the sticks is older than that, and if you want to go farther, throwing the bones, which of course is dice,
Mhm.
you know, and counting up dice have been used in that way, but also the throwing of bones, and we're talking about very, very old magic here, where they've taken and boiled away all the flesh and grease from a unfortunate animal and use their entrails and their body to tell the future with.
There is something that comes to mind in Peru. They use guinea pigs to diagnose medical ailments, and
Yes.
is barbaric
Oh,
what
it's
they do.
horrible.
I don't
Horrible what
even,
they do to them.
but I will talk about it. Okay, a person is sick. I watched this on a documentary. A
Hmm.
person is sick. They take a guinea pig and they leave him next to they take care of the guinea pig, food, water, etc. Right?
Right.
They put him in the on the bedside next to the sick person,
Um,
and
um, Nathan, if I may, we're
yes.
on YouTube,
Oh yeah.
and this might not be the right place.
Right. I
Okay,
will leave that
I
to
can
the history.
handle it. I'm
And
sure
whoever.
everybody in our chat can handle it, but somebody scrolling through will go out of their fucking minds. Okay, and let's just not even set ourselves up that way. Let's just suffice it to say that yeah, some of those
It,
old methods are still being used and they're still
right.
barbaric and it's horrible.
Right.
I wouldn't stop you, but that's really I really
Right.
have a feeling about that, and we better just walk away from it.
Good idea. Uh, yeah, that right there. Discovery and History channels can keep that one.
Yeah,
They get the
yeah,
government pass card. They're part of the divine or the black elites that shadow ban channels like this
yeah.
one.
I just don't want to set us up for something that we don't want to
Right.
go through.
Google at your own risk.
Yeah, yeah. It's adult only and strong stomach, please.
Google at your own risk. A lot of people,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what? Muggles have no idea about that, and it's in Peru. That's not that far away. It's not down the
Well,
street, but it's not far
the
away.
Africans use in some of the older tribes of
Mm,
Africa still use the old methods of treating ailments and the rest of it. So,
yeah.
and this was very, very early medicine. It was how it was divined. It was how it was treated. And if you thought the guinea pig got it bad, the individual doesn't fare much better.
Hmm.
You know, all right.
Google at your own risk. Good
Yes,
call, Lynn.
yes, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't need.
I just had this ugly gnawing feeling. I didn't want to go there.
Yeah. By the way, Xena is pretty when she talks to people. That is not me because she treats me with kid gloves. Probably because I don't know.
She didn't mistreat me in the least. She was very kind.
Okay.
You
Well,
know,
I don't know. Maybe it was the other person because she
other
goes over
person.
there like a poltergeist. It is
No, no,
she. She will like would shake the table, throw stuff, and make stuff fly around the
no,
room.
no, no. Your guide and everybody's guide in here is. I didn't feel anybody being
Okay.
hostile towards me at all.
Yeah,
And
I think it was
if a guide is hostile towards me, the reading ends there because
right. Well, this was.
we cannot be copacetic, and that guide is not trusting what's going on.
Oh well, in this is not what was happening. That's not
Okay.
what was happening. What was happening was, um, see, I have literally had. I seem to be. Oh, how do I say this? When she comes to me, I have to have the mindset, an open mind, ready for it. Else, it's like you're like, "Hey, you! I'm talking to you," and I'm down here going, "I wonder what this is."
Do
And
you hear something?
my own ego is getting in the way. But
Yeah.
and she I don't and so she goes to a third party, a proxy, not you, but another proxy, right?
Yeah.
And she goes over there and that person is kind of unstable in her own right, right? So she first she has there have been like very vivid images and like I said, things flying around, tables shaking like all poltergeisty. She can do that stuff, okay?
Oh yeah, they can.
Me and her have a lot of experience together now, and I can vouch for it. And it's cool. It's cool. I want to say crazy, but it's cool.
When you're in sync with your guide, where not necessarily that guide's calling your every shot, because that's not how that works.
No,
But
no,
when you're in sync with them, they can help you in ways that you can't imagine.
right,
I've had my guide interfere in bad dreams. What I thought was a bad dream instead was a psychic attack, you know, and I've had
yeah,
that happen. So when you're walking your walk and talking your talk, and that doesn't mean whether Christianity or whatever it is, but your spirituality is in good shape, okay?
hmm
Uh your guide is able to communicate with you so much smoother,
right,
where they're
and
not interfering. They're saying, "Hey, maybe this might not be the right thing for you." Or,
right,
"Yeah, Get that cookie. That looks good. And
Right.
it
And
literally can be that mundane.
one big thing that happened was the cemetery story.
Yeah.
Now, my guy knew me well enough to know that I would try to be the hero,
Yeah.
and I would try to be the knight in shining armor when I clearly am not ready for that, right? I would still
But
try to
it
do
could
it.
have hurt. It could have got you hurt badly,
Right,
and maybe your friend as well.
right, right. She still cannot talk about what happened. She has a hard time. I don't think it has ever clicked. I think she has sectioned it away and don't want to talk about it. But what happened with me over there is,
Traumatized by it, you think?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
I
think,
know
and,
you
and
were.
she, well, she couldn't make sense of it.
Yeah.
And when you can't make sense of something as a human, you deny it, corn it off, you blank your own memory, selective memory, you push it away. Well,
Yeah. Yeah,
what
you
went
do.
on with me was I wasn't so scared, so I need I needed to be scared. In retrospect, she was the one that put the panic in me at the moment. The situation wasn't. I've seen similar stuff, but she was the one that put the panic in me, and she knew, well, I guess she was banking on or something, that I would stop and pay attention because I wanted to. I'm going to rescue you. I'm going to
I'm the
charge into the void.
I'm the man. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to charge into the void and go forth with my silly bad self.
Wait a
She didn't want that
minute.
to
I'm a
happen.
little lost here. You know.
Right. She didn't want that to happen. So it felt like I had somebody grab me in the back. Well, not really grab me in the back, but it was like I
You
got
felt that.
I got the fight or flight, and it came out of nowhere. Right? I wasn't scared. The fight or flight came out. It it's like one of the first. It was the first thing that happened, and then
Well, you
dark
were a
and blurry.
soldier, and that's the first thing is danger.
Rescue.
Guess gird up and let's go.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Rescue time. And or and I was about to do that, and the proxy told me your spirit guide kept you from uh, disappearing from reality, basically.
Well, you didn't go into a portal.
I no,
Your
she
your
did.
guide said, "Oh hell no, we're not doing this."
Right. She says the girl did. The friend of mine did go. What was
But she
that?
doesn't have anything like the relationship with her spiritual self that you do.
No, she is. Oh, that was that. She is very. I know everything. She has this idea that I know everything, and I'm like, no, you don't. You've been doing this for approximately 3 years. Stop
Uh-uh.
it.
She
Over
doesn't
now
know.
5 years.
Uh,
Just
hell,
stop
I've
it.
been at it for 50 and don't know.
The more
That the
you figure
idea of
out,
something like that happening to me just scares me to pieces.
yeah, the
And I'm
more
not kidding.
to the muggles, the more you go along, the more you realize you don't know, and there's so much more to it than you thought it was. Right? For
It's a
real.
lot more complex than we have any idea of.
Yeah,
I'd
and
I'd be so interested in knowing what she saw on that side because she saw something,
yeah, some
and
all she
her experience terrified her.
yeah, and she will never admit that. I've asked her. I've tried to drag it out of her, and she always changes the subject, gets distracted, plays like she's mad, and well, I haven't talked to her in a while,
Yeah,
in
you're
almost
you're gonna have to let it go. She won't talk to you about it
no,
until
she's
she's
not going to
ready,
talk
and
to me.
she might not ever be ready.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's her path. That's
Yeah,
something else Xena has
yeah.
taught me. Okay, here we are. Here we are for the Muggles again. Here we are.
And
Here.
it's not that easy. if your spirituality is kind of traditional. I say traditional, as in your rabbi, priest, or pastor.
Right.
You know, they are have sheltered themselves from this part of reality as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it harder because then you have an experience. Who are you gonna call?
Yeah. And
The
here's
quantum
this is
show.
right. Call the Quantum Show. Thank you, Samo.
I used to
Well,
be
you
a
know what?
muggle. Then I got saved by Nathan. Oh
Rich
please.
and Amy gave you a good heads up head start. Rich and Amy gave you a good head start.
Oh yeah. And then
But
Amy seems to be a very authentic
oh, she is.
and
I love her to death.
sincere individual.
And oh, she is. Um, and I love the way she takes the approach of have a good time with it.
Yeah.
Because something I said, right? Something I said. Somebody was using a Ouija board. Rich, he talked about this on a show. He was using a Ouija board to contact aliens. It, you know what? It's just, and I said, this is what I said.
Well, that's definitely a different use for it.
This is what I said, right?
I think that smacks an awful lot of trying to prove that aliens are demonic,
Oh no,
which
that
they are
just
not.
they're okay. Aliens are not demons. I
No.
checked, and but he did this. He did because he tried to, and I don't remember the results he got. I have to go back and re-listen. It's been a couple of years since he did that. He's moved on to other
Do
things,
you
right?
suppose he even has it up anymore?
Oh yeah, all the maybe in
Okay.
his members. I'm a
Okay.
member of Gufonian right here, and this is what I said to him when someone tried to tell him you can't do it that way, and I said this is ufology. All methods are valid. Why not? All met. You know
I
what they
I
did back
never
in the
thought
day?
about doing anything like that. It never
Yeah,
even occurred to me.
yeah. Well, back to my remember that color chart that I made with the
Actually,
EM spectrum?
now, Sama, I don't want that kind of exclusivity. I would rather have Muggle wander in here and get smartened up.
Right, instead of going to like I don't know, Lou Elizondo. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I really would because in here you get mostly questions. I mean, that's what we do here. We question, and you know, we're all looking for the answers, and we'd all realize that not every answer is the right one or the wrong one, or they can be both or neither.
Hmm.
Because that's the nature of quantum.
Right. You know what? We are approaching the last 15 minutes of the show, and I want to take this opportunity to plug Mr. Ballin. Okay, link will be in the description after the show. I went to see Mr. Ballin live. He is a he tells now his story was he was 16 years old. He is a former Navy SEAL. I kept saying Marines. He's a former Navy SEAL. And when he was 16, he went to his buddy's ski lodge place that he went, his cabin on the side of a mountain, I forget where. And he would go every year from like 13, 14, it was just a fun family thing. And one year, the the people who owned it, the family that owned it, the father passed away. Right?
Uh-huh.
I cannot tell it as well as Ballin can. It is such a great
I
story.
hear he's a wonderful storyteller.
Oh, oh,
I'm
the
gonna look at
way
that link because I think I would like to hear more.
Oh, for sure. Like and subscribe, Mr. Ballin. Oh, that's actually his logo. His
And
it's like
and
a
while you're
thumbs up.
here, like and subscribe here too.
Yeah, like and subscribe here. This is his logo. A skeleton hand, thumbs up. That's his logo. Strange, dark, and mysterious. That's his logo. I do not have any permission to play any of his stuff ever. He is totally monetized, and like
Oh yeah, no.
YouTube would
Yeah.
totally overly ban me. And oh, we
They
ain't there
shoot
yet,
you and
man.
stick you
When we
on
get
a
to the end,
elastic and throw you across the room.
when we get to the end, we will have Quantum Halloween advice. But for
Yeah.
right now, I'm talking about
But
the show I went to.
and while we're at it, let's go ahead and plug Positive Perspectives with our Keith Andrews.
Yes, link
Every,
is in the
every
description.
yes, and of course Raven's Rabbit Hole.
Yes, Raven's Rabbit Hole, also link in description. Uh,
Quantum Halloween advice before we all have to go.
yeah. Well, we're not
Holy
there
shit!
yet. We're not there yet. Okay. Uh, wrong thing. Oh, here we go. This is Keith's show. This is his channel here on YouTube, and his link is in the description. Raven has a 12radio.com link in the description. So please see, of like every show for the past year, those links have been there.
Both of those shows are absolutely amazing and very insightful.
Yes. Raven has great guests on.
Sure
She has
does.
excellent guests. So here's what, right? His story, I will wrap it up in the short way. The father passed away, and they
Okay.
thought, oh, well, there's not going to be a ski trip, a snowboarding trip this year. They're just not going to do it because grief, right? And they were going, and no one ever mentioned it, but they said, we're going snowboarding. Let's go. The mother. And Ballin was like, oh, okay. So they went. They went, and the place is located on the side of a mountain where it actually digs into the mountain. It was an old ski resort that they sold pieces of it off, right? The
Sure.
chalets and stuff, to personal people, not another company. It's a closed ski resort, but it's still got all the cabins there. So
That'd be
yeah, they bought a cabin. The family had bought this cabin, and it had a wraparound porch where this thing was sticking out of the side of the mountain. So, like every porch that has stilts going down, you could hear the walking, the wood of the rickety porch, because it doesn't matter how tight it is, it's wood, it's going to creak against each other.
gonna echo. It's
Right,
on the side of the mountain. It's gonna echo.
right. And it's uh, just a creaky wooden wraparound porch. So he was they get out there, they unload their stuff. These two other family members, a brother and a cousin, or two brothers or something, were supposed to show up at some point, but they just had weird jobs and they were like traveling and stuff. So they said, "Oh well, they'll show up when they show up. It might be when everybody's asleep, but they'll show up." So that's what Ballin was hearing, and they went. They had a good time the first day. They got their stuff, and it's going on nighttime, and this place is out in the mountain, so there's no lights, there's no sounds. They go to bed. Ballin is awake. There's nothing wrong, just couldn't sleep. I guess too excited for being out.
Well, a
Yay,
lot
ski
of
trip!
activity will keep you
Right,
wide awake.
right. They were snowboarding,
Uh-huh.
and he went to bed. And while he was in bed, now there's a driveway going up to this place. While he was in bed, he heard steps on the porch. He goes, "Oh, the brother must be here. One of the brothers or both must be here." So he heard the steps, and he heard the door open because they had bells on the door, jingle bells, sleigh bells. He
Sure.
heard the door open and close, and then he heard something strange. He heard now this place is like built on a cement foundation because they needed the stability to be stuck
Yeah.
into the side of a mountain.
Sure.
So you couldn't hear footsteps. But he said he could hear these footsteps. He heard ominous type footsteps. And then he heard a pan that was hanging on with the pots and pans in the kitchen.
Uh huh.
It was, see, I'm nutshell version. The kitchen is very close.
Of course, it's a
And,
cabin. It's small.
right, he hears a pot fall and thud to the ground. And he goes, "What's that about?" So he doesn't feel very social. So he just wants to say, pretends like he's going to sleep. There's two empty beds waiting for them, right? Or one, whatever. There's an empty bed waiting for this person. So he goes and stays pretending to be asleep. Now it is pitch black in this cabin, and he says the door opened to the bedroom that he was in, and he's thinking the brother still. They're just
Well, of
being
course.
loud.
Well, who
Right,
else
they're
would it
being
be?
loud and they're being rude to all the people sleeping in the house because they know it's like
Sounds
2 o'clock
like
in the
a
morning or
brother
whatever.
to me.
Hmm.
Sister too, for that matter.
And then here's what he sees. He's like, or just one eye looking. He sees in the blackness, the door opens and there's like a clock radio or something that has a tiny little bit of light coming from it. And he
Uh-huh.
could see the shine of the door, right? He see the door shine against the door just a little bit, just enough to know the door is open. But in the doorway stands something that is blacker than black. And he said it's got to be 10 feet tall. Now, keep in mind, he's 16. How do you get it? You don't have 10-foot tall ceilings in a cabin on the side of a mountain. They're small.
I
So
I
this
would
thing,
say you're scared to death. Everything's large.
right. He says this thing walks in and he's petrified at this
I'll
point.
bet.
And he says, please don't look at me. He's there. His buddy is in the bunk over there across from him. And there's not much room. So, and this thing walks in silently, if I remember right, silently bows over the kid, the son, the friend whose dad passed away, bowed over him, and it disappears. And he's laying there petrified, like shadow person, old hag experience type thing. He can't
Yeah.
move. He can't until say he stays up, and then he in several hours he hears the mother in the kitchen. He hears the pan get picked up. He hears coffee being made. Right?
Uh huh.
So he goes in there and he says he's like in the middle of this lady. Her husband just passed away, so she's grieving. Well, he says, did anybody show up at the cabin last night? And she stops him and she's treating him like being patient with a child. Like the child is trying to hint at something. And she goes, John, his name is John. John, I saw my husband last night too. And he just done.
Yeah.
Right. This
Yeah.
happened the second night, exactly the same way as the first. But and then on day 3, she went and bought a new coffee table to go into the living room.
Uh
To
huh.
get the old one, she just wanted to change it out. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And they pick up the table, they bring it in, they set it where it goes, the other one goes away,
Uh huh.
and goes to bed, right?
Sure.
Something different happens. Footsteps, doorbell, not doorbell, but sleigh bells of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
door, walks in, but it doesn't go to the room. And he goes, oh, I'm saved, right? He doesn't know what happens. He can't sleep, but he knows this thing's not coming after him. That's what 16-year-old John was thinking, right? But the next morning, he hears just like the previous 2 mornings. Mom's in the kitchen making coffee. Says, "Hey, good morning." And he drinks coffee. He's slamming coffee at this point, right?
Yeah.
And Mom is crying. And he's like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" "John, come here. Look at this." And she takes him to the new table. "My husband, he was here again last night. Look." And scratched into the table, "I love you."
Oh my
And
God.
that's not, it's a shadow person. This is like, he put it the right way. It's a mountain demon posing as as her husband.
Could be
That's what, now to hear
something that
Ballin
dark,
tell it.
but they usually don't try for that kind of deception. They're usually there just to feed off of the fear. Of course, he gave
Ooh,
him plenty of that, didn't he?
yep. And he tells it so much better.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sure.
like, when I tell a story, it's like, come on, man, get to the point. Shut up, get to it. That's me.
Yeah, I want to hear the rest of the story. I don't care about all the lead-in.
Right. When Mr. Ballin tells it, you want to hear it. It makes you want to hear it. You're like, what next happened? What happened next?
Sort of
Don't
like the
skip
rest
anything.
of the story.
Right.
I
Don't
always
skip
love those.
anything.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
So
yeah,
please,
I know what you're saying.
I went to see him, and oh, you know what? I got something for you.
Huh.
Oh, I bought a book.
He bought a book. Oh my God, here we go.
What did I do with it?
I'm trying to peek around the corner. Oh my God, I must be cracking up.
Hmm. This is what a ghost hunter usually looks like.
Yeah, that and the med tech.
Here we go. Here we go. Screenshot. I went and got this book. This is his book. It's a graphic novel.
Oh, how fun.
I went and got it.
I love comic
Oh,
books.
thank you, Samo. Well, it's not so much. It's very.
Cool, cryptid
You
t-shirt.
know
Oh yeah.
what?
Yeah, it is cool. What?
I think I got a misprint. Check it out. Notice the orientation. I've got to do this. This is cool. I don't know why I didn't look at this. Here's the spine. Here's
Uh-huh.
the front. Here's the back. You open it. What?
Well, what
What?
is it
What's going on here?
backwards?
It's upside down.
Oh my gosh,
Misprint.
you got the cover on backwards.
No, it's not a removable cover.
No,
No,
I mean
he got
the
it.
cover's actually on backwards.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's I got a rare, super rare Mr.
You know,
Ballin misprint.
I've got one of Scott Cunningham's books,
Hmm.
and Scott Cunningham, of course, is a writer, and one of the original folks that published paganism during the 70s.
Right,
I
in the
actually got
United
to meet
States.
him. I've mentioned this, but the cover is on backwards, upside down on this book, and I'm like, I'm never parting with this thing.
Hmm.
Out of all the books I could have picked up, that had a skew on it, and I can't quite remember if I had it autographed or not. There was a
Right.
short period of time there because he was gone real soon after I met him.
Yeah. He was before my time that I was a. Oh, wow. This is.
Jim bought a book once and liked it.
Oh, I liked all of his books.
I
The
like
ones that I
books.
bought.
I love
I
books. I read.
I don't think I have any of his now. Okay, Scott Cunningham, he's like as close to mainstream as you can get, right?
Yeah.
He's as close to mainstream as you and Raymond Buckland, Silver Ravenwolf. There's a group that is as close. They do different things, but they're as
Fred,
close to the
but
mainstream.
Uncle Bucky is kind of he's one of the originals. He's there with Aleister Crowley and that group.
Aleister Crowley. Those are as close to mainstream as you can get. If you go to a regular Muggle bookshop like Barnes and Noble, that's who they're going to have on the shelf.
Oh yeah, they'll have it as a cult, but they're actually extremely traditional and are more into uh the choreographed, I want to say,
Right,
uh ritual, which
right,
many Wiccans don't bother with.
right. I am non-denominational pagan, so
Yeah.
it's me and the trees, yo. You know,
Sorry, Frank. Ritualized, yeah.
right?
But
It's me and the trees,
it's
and I
just
don't.
a way it's just a way of relating to how things are, but it it is very much a pigeonhole in the vastness of what the different traditions can be, and like Raven's pointing out, Laurie Cabot, the free thinker,
Hmm.
Sybil Leek, very much a free thinker. So we're
Right,
talking about almost patriarchal uh, paganism as opposed to matriarchal. As
right,
opposed mother as opposed to father.
right. I
So
haven't been
it
to a
has
Muggle.
its different segments,
Sorry.
just as Christianity or Judaism do.
Right, and I haven't been looking at those mainstream books
Uh,
lately because I looked at them in my early years of doing this.
yeah.
By the way, it's awesome to say in my early years of doing this.
Ah!
I looked at all those books and I either
Yeah.
borrowed them, checked them out, something, right?
Yeah.
And
Very hard to
uh,
find them in libraries because they're stolen and they're
they're stolen,
destroyed.
or if
And
you're like
or
me in the Bible Belt, they won't let them in there in the first place.
uh-uh. Well, they're part of the banned book thing, and you know, and it's unfortunate that
Yeah,
they're here. We are,
yeah,
but
and you know what? Mhm. But you know
I'm
what,
sorry.
y'all? We have reached the end of the quantum panel. I sent out links and Lynn showed up. The call was put forth by my digital raven, not our raven, my digital raven.
Our little homing pigeon.
Right, our digital ping of awareness went out
Yeah.
and Lynn showed up for it. Other people did not. So,
Sybil Leek says Raven says was her first. With
yeah,
Scott Cunningham was actually mine, and I met him when I decided for the path.
I was pushed first towards Raymond Buckland, but I went to Scott Cumming, Scott. I'm tired.
Cunningham,
Scott Cunningham
yes,
because it felt better to me.
I,
Uh,
he's easy to incorporate into a practice.
right, and it's easy to read.
Yes,
It's not. You don't have to
some of
have the
these other guys
context.
are not easy.
Right, you got to have the context of all the vernacular and all this
Yeah.
stuff. It was easier to get into uh than, oh my god, Raymond Buckland threw me for a loop. I was like, it was
Yeah.
like I was studying 3D
Although
design.
Cunningham was very associated with Raymond Buckland.
Right, but he related it so much easier.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Digestible, right?
Yes. Yes.
Not
Very.
and and even
And
Silver
not
Ravenwolf.
and not so and not so uh crazy. crazy talk, you know, to
Right.
somebody who's just trying to understand what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
He spoke in Muggle.
Hey, Woo,
Hey, Woo. Welcome back. I know you've probably been here a while lurking. Hit like. I
and
know you're
subscribe.
subscribed. He's already
Yeah,
subscribed. He is
yeah,
Quantum. Samo, I
yeah.
don't know. Did I
I
miss
I
something?
love they were talking about books going digital, and I hope not because gee whiz, I love the feel of a book in my hands. It's
Right.
sort of a tactile thing, the weight of it and the rest of it.
I was, yeah,
But
right. I mean, that's why I bought the book.
yeah,
I want to support the guy, but I already got a digital copy too. I could have stopped there,
you
but
want to feel it in your hands.
right.
Yeah,
That's why I use these.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I use these because
It's
it's
a
like a record.
almost a materialistic thing too, because once you own the book, ain't nobody getting it from you.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and but y'all, we're at the end of the panel.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything. Everybody showing up. Thank you so much. And you know, we covered it quite a bit in the panel and the first hour. We went over quite a bit. We stuck to topics, which is like crazy for
Yeah.
us. We stick
No,
to
but
topics.
we did pretty good on it this time.
Yeah, we did uh debunkers. We
Yeah.
did Ouija boards. We did
We did a couple
uh,
of fast
ghost.
reads.
Right, we did reads. We covered a video. Well, that was first hour.
Yeah.
Whatever. Covered a video. My show. Covered a video.
Okay, it's your show.
Talked about, like I said, the skeptics, and we went over divination and bringing it down to the mogul level. Talked about tarot cards. Did readings
Talk
and
about ghosts.
talked a lot about ghosts because pre-Halloween.
Yeah.
Um, Stay tuned for the Halloween show. I don't know what's going to happen because, well, it is the Quantum show, but something will happen. And yeah,
It'll be ghostly.
it'll be, yeah, and it'll probably be, oh, I hate this word, spooky. I don't like that word. It's like,
Maybe even a little witchy. Who knows?
yeah, definitely witchy. Thanks, everybody. Oh, maybe some Halloween tips, and I might go over some comedy. I might tell some
Uh,
jokes about banned Halloween costumes like invisible pedestrian.
yeah. And thanks to those who went ahead and got the readings. I appreciate your trust, and I hope
Yes,
that it was a positive experience for you.
yes, and I want to say thanks to everybody, and uh, thanks everybody for showing up. You had so many other places on the internet to be, and you know what? You ended up here.
Your
That
quantum,
means you're quantum.
your quantum. Yes.
So I'm gonna go start pushing buttons. Yep, Aussie is throwing the link in the chat. Feel free to go over there. Definitely go see. Oh, is that the specific video, Aussie? That might be his. That was his first video. That was his
Oh
primer
really?
into the paranormal.
Oh wow. I
Is
love stuff like that. It's so fun.
he's he tells it so well.
Yeah.
Thank you all for suffering through my my pauses, my ums, and everything, and go see Mr. Ball. Oh, Samantha, you were lurking the
Samantha.
whole time. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah.
Everybody,
And
this has been the
everybody.
Quantum Panel pre Halloween show. So maybe aliens will be more of a thing next week, but it'll definitely have some Halloween because I mean, I printed up
Do we have
all the
any
pumpkins.
do we have
I
any ghost stuff for the future aliens? Or Halloween, I mean, where aliens have showed up? I don't know.
I
We'll
don't
have to
know.
look. I'll
I
have to
know
look.
I know my sister has an alien in her yard for Halloween. I put him there. But
Lots of
stay tuned. Keep it quantum, everybody. I'm gonna be doing what? I mean, what's the thing that we do here?
We're pushing buttons.
Oh, it's
Yay!
somewhere in here. It's somewhere in here. It's some. I gotta get rid of
Come
some
on,
of these.
Aussie, pushing buttons.
Yep. Aussie is on top of it. I thought. Let
Thanks,
me just.
stars.
There
I'm not
we go. There,
appreciate
pushing. The wrench people. Wrench man has spoken. Thanks, everybody. Keeping it quantum. Happy Halloween coming up. Happy pre-Halloween.
Happy full moon, folks.
Happy. Go see the moon. Go see the moon. Just go walk
Beautiful.
outside. Go see the moon. Say, I want to see the moon, and you will. Be quantum state. Oh, Samo, another
And say
wrench.
hi to her for me.
Yeah. Y'all have a good week. If anything comes up, stay tuned. Keeping it quantum. And uh manager is saying pushing buttons. Pushing buttons.
See you next week, folks.